Okay, so it seems like even more information is coming out about the Nijisanji stuff and Aster Arcadia. Now, if you don't know, Aster Arcadia was separated from Nijisanji yesterday. Obviously, this was absolutely huge news in the VTubing community, as, you know, Aster has been involved in a lot of drama, especially considering the investigation that is currently going on over at Nijisanji, or it probably has even finished by now due to the fact of Aster Arcadia leaving. But one thing that people are not very happy about is the fact that Nijisanji are kind of refusing to take any kind of accountability here, and are refusing to kind of give any extra information about Aster Arcadia and his involvement with a lot of the claims of, you know, for example, sexual harassment and other kind of things as well, which are absolutely horrible, as well as some internal things within inside of Nijisanji. And well, it seems like even more people are digging up stuff about Aster and some of their, you know, kind of actions outside of Nijisanji, which is very, very interesting, because in my previous video, we obviously covered the new indie or alt account, or whatever you want to call it, of Aster Arcadia, which looks like they are setting up for a kind of indie debut at some point, and the only person they are following is Aster Arcadia, which has been pretty heavily exposed, obviously, by this person over on Reddit, and I made a video on that entirely explaining that situation, which is very, very interesting, as, yeah, it seems like he wants to, you know, start again through indie, but so soon. Literally, it's been, what, like a couple of hours, and he'd already made a new account to, you know, stream on or whatever, which is very, very interesting, and it obviously plans that, it obviously shows that he plans to, you know, come back quickly, which obviously a lot of people are not happy about. But it seems that people have also been kind of watching his league account as well, which is quite funny. Obviously, this is one of the matches that he was in, and it seems like he is still hanging out with some of the kind of Nijisanji members who have also been in some pretty horrible situations, including Finina, Yuki, and Elira, which obviously, you know, were involved in the whole Dokibird stuff, mainly Elira with the whole infamous black screen stream, which went on with her and, like, Ike and people like that, trying to kind of refute some of the points against Dokibird, sorry, or at the time Selen. But again, it was, yeah, very interesting, and, you know, people are now obviously saying that Aster was hanging out with them, obviously due to their kind of negative, you know, standing, which obviously it starts to make a little bit of sense, you know, and people saying for the amount of waves Niji pumps out, it's always the same few names. Niji EN has less members of Phase Connect to say, should we be shocked predators and bullies have to stick together? Say, wow, it's wild. Whenever I call out a live or friend Finana here, I get so much pushback, but when I see comments like this, with none, yeah, suddenly everyone's so quiet. Say the usual suspects, birds of a feather as such. You know, said, I don't know, wasn't Elira the one that tried to talk to management about the disaster and his sexual harassment? Said yes, which is why the situation is probably more complicated than it looks. You don't have to like someone to still play the game with them. So while I'm confused, I don't think we'll have enough info to know for sure what Elira's stance was. She and Luca apparently tried to get rid of him, and they tried hard enough that Luca even went to Raziel for advice to increase their chances. So her position may not be 100% black or white. Yuki, no clue whatsoever. Finina has come off as more of a victim than anything, which is interesting, because obviously I feel like, you know, the thing, you guys play games with people you don't like, which, yeah, it's very interesting. I don't see how, you know, obviously this person has had like a negative stance against kind of Aster and a lot of the stuff that he's done, but still hop into a league game with him. I mean, you know, as that person says, I don't play games with people that I don't like. I'm gonna be honest. I don't hop onto a league game with someone that I dislike. Like, let's be real. League is bad enough, but it's even worse whenever you throw someone you don't like into the mix. I don't get that kind of point to say. I mean, back when I played League with people I didn't know, they just get invited by someone else. Honestly, feels like a lot of people thinking playing League together is a bigger deal. I mean, to be fair, it is like, you know, obviously it's not like a big deal in terms of like, you know, oh, they played a game of League together, but it does show you that they are still in contact, and they definitely do have at least some kind of cordial term. I think it does actually have a bigger effect than this person is actually making out to be, because obviously, as you know, they said, you don't play games with people you don't like. Obviously, maybe, you know, like Elira, or, you know, some of these people obviously have a like a kind of mixed stance on them, but it seems like they are amicable enough to be able to hop into a game together, which I think is definitely interesting. You know, there's a big difference between playing with people you don't know and playing with people you don't like. So not as big as you'd think. While it is a meme to an extent, a lot of League players already don't get along anyways. So there's a lot of big difference between still playing with someone you just casually hate versus still playing with someone you literally just reported for sexual harassment, which is true. This person is exactly right, you know, and I think that is a big difference as well. It's not just like Alara just, you know, dislikes, you know, Aster. It's not like she's just going, oh yeah, well, you know, yeah, I just dislike them. I don't really like them. No, it's they've literally just reported them for sexual harassment, which I think, you know, obviously isn't the best look. And obviously, yeah, you're probably not going to be playing League with a person like that. They say Finana sounds like she may have been a victim that fell for the bait. Lara and Yuki, yeah, I got no clue on that one. I don't see how they mean she fell for the bait. I mean, she played a League game. I don't know how you can get like baited into playing a League game. But again, maybe she did. So Quinn said he was just as much of a guilt trip and manipulator to people he interacted with publicly, so it doesn't sound far off. So I think they're trying to say that they tried to manipulate them into playing a game of League, which is interesting. You know, they said this was 2 months ago, dude. A lot of stuff happened. It's not that recent, which yes is true. Obviously, it says 2 months ago up there, but I think, you know, they said but the investigation started last December though. I'm not really sure how to read this. Does this mean they played 2 months ago? Which, yeah, it's very interesting because obviously there was you know, the whole stuff did come out way before 2 months ago, and these people were still interacting with them despite all of this kind of investigation going on. They say we basically figured out by now that there never was an investigation. Also, I think them playing a game together was around January or February. They said, yeah, but nobody really knew what to make of the investigation. Even Twisty, who would have been directly involved with the investigation if it happened, didn't seem to sound too sure. So yeah, obviously people were speculating whether the fact there was any investigation. And I mean, these were the memes that are kind of coming up on the pages recently surrounding Nijisanji and the investigation. I just think it's so funny because we have two parallels going on in this situation right now with obviously Trump and the Epstein files, and then also we got Nijisanji and like the Aster files, which is quite funny because obviously they said, you know, Nijisanji have said that they were going to investigate this issue, but obviously we haven't had anything back from this, and all we've had is you know, Aster being, you know, separated from Nijisanji, and obviously it kind of is reminiscent of the whole Trump stuff that's going on at the moment because they don't want to release what exactly has happened and what has gone on behind the scenes. And obviously, you know, they're saying in the comments, we have done our own internal investigations and found no wrongdoing. They say the impact of this decision on our financial results will be negligible. They say, you know, sometimes I just want to be childish and just shout boo. They say following the same playbook as the US government and a person with a certain island released the Aster files. Is it, hey, so since I decided to avoid Anycolor after the whole Selen thing, could someone catch me up on what Aster did? Is it basically as a sex pest who harassed his colleagues but was protected by management? Which, yeah, definitely is true. And obviously, yeah, people have been talking and kind of going at length about what, you know, Aster has done, which is good because it means that a lot of people are educating other people on what's happened. I think that's also one of the main things that can really come from this. Obviously, it's a little bit disappointing that we haven't received any kind of investigation kind of conclusion or any investigation kind of information from what kind of Anycolor are doing. But I also think it's good at the same time that we now have like an announcement of Aster leaving, so that you can now use this as like to spread more awareness about him and about, you know, what he has done at the company and to avoid him essentially going forwards. And I think, you know, calling out stuff, for example, like this new account which has come out is definitely vital to kind of avoiding a situation like this in the future, because obviously, you know, we know what kind of person he's like. We know, you know, he can manipulate a lot of people. We know that he can, you know, be a pretty interesting person whenever it comes to, you know, a lot of the harassment and things, which has been absolutely horrible. So again, you know, what's to say that he won't do it again, but in the indie space where maybe some people won't really know who he is or what his past was. So again, the more that we can spread this kind of around, the more that we can get people aware of what he's done over at Nijisanji and, you know, his kind of attempts at trying to rebrand, his attempts at trying to branch out to different kind of content or whatever, or to, you know, start up a new entire identity. I think it is important that we call this stuff out and that we, you know, let people know, else there is going to be no change, and else there could be even more people affected by this, because again, it has been a pretty horrible situation. Let's not, you know, forget that. They say they won't tell us anything because their profits will be affected. Is money above morals? They got to keep their Japanese side in the dark. Those poor guys have no idea. They said really depends on the JP side. Some clippers might have been trying to get the narrative out on their side, but there's not a lot of them from what I recall. Might take time, but JP side is starting to find out about the known issues on the EN side. Don't quote me on this, but I've heard some JP bros did try to translate the drama to inform JP's side, but Anycolor copyrighted those videos and even tried to sue them, which is crazy. Obviously, they said, by the way, they'd promised to share the results of the investigation, but something tells me that they won't do that. Yeah, obviously, that is also another point as well that is really big. That's why people dislike the fact that we haven't seen any investigation kind of results yet. It's the fact that they did mention on their page that they would share it, you know? It's not like they said they were going to investigate it, and like, because I think it would be fair enough if they said we're going to investigate it and never mention the fact about sharing the information, but they specifically said they were going to share the information, and obviously the information probably doesn't look that good for them, and it probably, you know, is going to affect them pretty heavily. Well, you know, obviously they're not really going to want to release that, which obviously, you know, they definitely should release it, and I hope that they still do. You know, I hope that maybe this is just a delay. This is all a misunderstanding, and that they're just trying to get some of the information together, and they just did the first kind of course of action, which was getting rid of Aster. I don't know. So I'm hoping that is the case, and we do see some of it coming out soon. But again, I'm not very hopeful, especially considering Nijisanji's past of trying to cover things up and essentially just being a pretty horrible company in general. But yeah, that's essentially all I got for this video. I just wanted to kind of keep you guys up to date with what is going on and what people are talking about whenever it comes to the situation, as it has been a pretty crazy situation over the past couple of days. And I think that many people have been, you know, keeping up and keeping informed with this kind of stuff. So I hope that this video has kept you informed about what people are currently arguing about over this situation, or not arguing about, but calling for in this kind of situation, because again, as I said, I feel like it is a very important topic to keep you informed on. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, go to GameSups, use my code CASO, get 10% off again. They've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. I definitely recommend checking it out. Also, go in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this situation, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.